Hello everybody, my name is PopRex, and today we are not going to be adding anybody to our One Piece Dawn of the World quote-unquote game roster. We are going to be talking about our game modes, which I have quite a few alongside a few regular ones that you would see in Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. So let's get into that. So, basically the game modes, we're going to have our controls / King of the Hills, we're going to have our payload escorts, we're going to have our hybrid of those two, you capture the point, then you move the payload. We have our 3v3 eliminations, because I've always liked that, it's fun. We have our death matches, and there are team death matches. And now with those out of the way, and if you don't know what those are, just go download Overwatch, download Marvel Rivals, or just look at it for like 4 seconds on like any other game. Like COD has deathmatch, team deathmatch. So if you didn't know those, go look at those. But yeah, we're going to get into our first one, which is going to be the Davy back fight. That's right, we are going to start off strong on this list with the most iconic in-world game in One Piece, the Davy back fight. Basically, teams will fight, and whoever wins the round will take a player from the opposing team and put it onto their own team. The team with less than the normal amount of players will receive buffs per person they miss. So like they'll have lower cooldowns the more people they miss, or more health, take less damage, do more damage, stuff like that. Pretty simple stat changes. The match ends after one team gets all players onto their team, which is 5 other people because it's going to be 6v6, or 5 rounds have been played. A draw occurs only when the 5 rounds have been reached and each team still has 6 players each. So basically, there'll be 12 people, right? 6v6. Let's say you win 2, you take 2, they win 2, they take 2, whether it's their 2 or not, doesn't matter. And then that last round, when you take 1, you will win. But the thing is, I actually don't know if you could draw in this case, so maybe we'd have to make it 6 rounds, but this was just a quick little mock-up of how it might work in-game. And we could even add, like, special variants or, like, different game modes within this game mode, like the thing where one person is a ball and they have to make it to the goal with the other players helping them or something, which would mean we would only have to have, like, a certain subset of characters who can do things like this. But that's just an idea I'm throwing out here at the Davy back fight. But yeah, and then on to our next one, which is going to be a lot different than even the Davy back fight. So we're all aware that One Piece is in fact a pirate anime / manga, so it only makes sense to have ship battles, which is going to be our next game mode. Basically, both teams will spawn in on ships like over water, and I think it would be like off the coast of Wano or off the coast of Whole Cake, just having them in the background. You can't actually go to them, but it's just fun to have it there rather than empty open sea. But the 2 ships will be a little bit away from each other, and once the match starts, so like you'll be in your spawn room, you'll be able to look on the ship, look over at them, but you might not be able to see what they are exactly. But then when the match starts, planks of wood will like pop out of your ship and swinging ropes will spawn, so you can go to each other's ships if you don't have the mobility. And then they will have 2 ways of winning the match. The first way is to eliminate every player on the enemy team, right? And then the second way is to sink their ship. Each ship will have, let's say, 10,000 HP, just for an example. So there will be a total of 3 rounds, and the best of 2, and it cannot end in a draw. So if you go 1-1, obviously, that whoever gets 2 wins. And I made it to where you could destroy the ship, so that way, if let's say the enemy team just outclasses you fully, what you can do is just go a couple defensive characters to just stall them, while your high damage dealers might just focus the ship. But hey, it gets even better when we think about that strategy, right? Because certain characters will not die when falling into the water. Most characters will, but a couple characters, example being Jinbei, who's a fishman and can swim, and Brook, who can run across water due to him being so light. And this feature will only be available in this exact mode. So it's like a good way. So like also you would be able to climb these things. I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but there will be a universal sprint in the game. I might have not have mentioned that, but that is a thing. So let's keep that in mind. And yeah, that is our ship battle concept. But don't worry, I think we still have like 5, 7 more, I don't know. But let's get into them. So after ship battles, we've only been dealing with PvP, but what if we do a little bit of PvE with boss battles? So basically, there'll be a boss battle for each arc of the show or any big enemy for the moment. Example being Axe Hand Morgan, Crocodile, Arlong, Katakuri, Big Mom. Big Mom would be different if you're doing Whole Cake version, but you know what I mean. There will be individual queues for each one of these battles. So if you're in queue for, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes, bots will fill remaining spots. So if you only get half a team in queue for, let's say, Axe-Hand Morgan, it'll just give you like lower level bots. But if you're doing like Kaido, it'll give you high level bots. You know, that's the idea here. When the match starts, the players will be brought to the boss's quote-unquote domain, which is just where we fought them in the series. It'll be maybe a little bit more open, or maybe we'll just find an open space in that area. We'll see. And you will fight them together, like as a 6-man team. They'll all be able to knock you back and stun you, and then debuffs don't work as well against them. Okay, so I mistyped that. I meant to say you can all knock back, stun, and debuff each other, but doing it to the bosses they won't work as well. It won't work as well against bosses, is what I'm saying. And they'll have a decent bit of health and doing good damage. So like I would say maybe 10,000 HP, kind of like the ship example for this example, just because you could easily just slaughter a boss. Like how many times have you seen like a Magic in Rivals or like a soldier in Overwatch get 10,000 damage? It doesn't take a long time if they're okay, if they're pretty good at the game, you know? But yeah, there's our boss battles, which we will actually expand upon in the next game mode, which is going to be called Road to Laugh Tale. Basically, 6 players will enter the match and start on a ship. Here they will select characters and small upgrades / boosts. Examples of the upgrades would be like increased damage, increased health, lifesteal. I think I put shield generation on damaging, etc., etc. The players will then reach a boss island that they will then fight the bosses, and these bosses will give you drops based on the boss. So like you'll get maybe a skin, an icon, a name card, titles, emotes, etc. The match will go on until the players defeat all available bosses or they all go down. Losing the mode will not make you lose the rewards you earned. So like let's say the starting roster of these bosses is up to Crocodile, right? So let's say you get through Arlong, you get Axe-Hand Morgan, then you get to Kuro, you get to these other people up until Arlong, right? Then from there, if you die to Arlong, everything you've earned you'll still keep, but you will not get any Arlong rewards because you have not killed Arlong, unfortunately. So that's the idea here. Obviously, most of them you wouldn't have actually killed. Like Arlong, for example, he did go to prison. But that's the idea. Is going to be like if you've been up to date on Overwatch stuff, it's like Stadium, but the minor upgrades of Stadium. And like using the whole Magic and Rivals, right? She does damage, she gets shields, or like just lifesteal, like I think Moira does in Overwatch, Reaper does in Overwatch. Stuff like that is the idea for Road to Laugh Tale upgrades. But yeah, and now we're going to be moving away from traditional game modes for a minute because we got a big game mode in playtesting. So basically, this mode, there'll be a couple of cards inside the mode that will show you something like upcoming characters, new bosses, new features, etc. So if a player selects the upcoming characters tab, they will enter a single player queue and have the option to only select the upcoming hero. So let's say the next hero coming out is going to be Mihawk. Then once you select Mihawk, you will be able to begin the playtest. This draft of the character will be like the one pre-release, so it'll be like the most polished one right before release, or it might be like a middle of the way through getting all the abilities done and just simple, it could be either of those, but I'm not sure. I think I would go with the most up to date right before the final patch for release, but then basically you'll go against AI enemies, and when leaving the match, you'll be prompted with a survey with questions, and at the end of the survey, you'll be prompted with additional feedback. Once the survey is over, the player will receive a playtester exclusive skin once the character releases fully. Now, the reason I did this is because 1, the experimental card in Overwatch people sometimes use, but overall it went unplayed, so I'm adding the skin for an incentive. B, people want to be very involved with how heroes are made, or at least want to know how they're being made. So questionnaire of like general questions, typically game designers would get, along with the option to put in your specific feedback, would be perfect, because let's say, right, you're playtesting Mihawk against all these different AI enemies. Let's say they're just weak and then they get stronger as time goes on, right? as Mihawk, if you feel like you're getting killed too often or you're dying too much, you can just put in your additional feedback. Hey, I think Mihawk should get a shield generation or like a life steal, something like that to help him live longer, or maybe damage resistance when he's using this ability, that ability. This is the general idea of the function of the survey and the questionnaire. And you can play this playtest for as long as you want up until the character releases. So you can play the day the playtest comes out for Mihawk. You can do it the last day. You can do it for hours on end straight. It doesn't matter. You can do it however much you want, because at the end of it, once you give your feedback and you've played at least, like, let's say 5 hours or something total, or like 2 hours, something not massive but enough to where you can definitely give decent feedback, you'll get the skin when the character releases. And it'll tell you when you've earned the skin, so it won't be anything where you just play and then hope you get the skin. Because one of my buddies, he was like, I don't know if this is a good idea because people will get angry about it, but I'm sitting here like, but it'll always be available to you until the character releases, which everybody will know when it releases. So then if you're mad that you didn't get the playtest or exclusive skin, you literally have no reason to. You can playtest anytime in the game, whenever you want. It doesn't matter. So there'll be no excuse if you're mad about not getting the skin when you didn't play. So yeah, that's the idea for that one. If the player selects the new bosses, the player will then enter a queue with other players or bots to fight this boss, blah, and will be given a questionnaire and additional feedback before leaving the match. They will receive a boss tester title for this. If the player selects the new feature tab, they will then test whatever feature is in the works, if any, be it a version of the game with passive healing regen, perks/upgrades, or Haki and Logias being more series accurate, or anything else along those lines. As the other experimental prompts. Whoa, what does this say? Okay, anyway, basically when it ends, they'll be given a questionnaire, additional feedback like normal, and then if you do this, you'll get a feature creature spray, because I've always thought the term creature feature is just really funny, so feature creature, why not, right? But yeah, basically this experimental card is available for everyone and is always open unless they are being updated. So if a player complains about playtesters getting rewards, then they should have played the free and always available mode. That is my take on this, and if you don't like it, oh well. It's my theoretical game I'm probably not going to make, but yeah. So let's move on from playtesting into something a little bit different. In this game mode, Haki, Logias, and Sea Prisms are going to work exactly like in the show. This is going to be called Rules of the Sea. Basically, in this game mode, Haki, Logias, and Sea Prism Stone will work as in the series. So if you're Sabo versus Smoker or Kaido, who have Sea Prism Stone and then Haki respectively, they will now be able to hit you in your intangibility ability with the appropriate abilities of their own. This mode will be a 6v6 and will include all characters. It will include all characters. Non-Haki/Sea Prism havers will just play like normal, so like your Usopps, your Brooks, who we don't have any Haki or Sea Prism abilities for, they'll work exactly like normal. You just can't hit the Logia users, nothing will change for you. But Logias and Devil Fruit users will need to be wary of people like Smoker, for example, because he's the only one with Sea Prism Stone, which can completely cancel your ability. Also, any standard game modes, escort, control, etc. will be available in this, as like this is the mode that branches off of those into its own thing, Devil Fruit negation from like Sea Prism Stone will last for 2 seconds after being hit with Sea Prism Stone, and then the Haki will just hit Logia users if they are intangible, as if they weren't intangible. And yeah, I think this is a good idea, because I don't think this would ever be in a base game, just because it's so because like Logia's sure would be unfair, but it's only a single ability you can't hit them with, it's not constant. And then plus, with so many people on the roster having Haki, it's to the point where why would you even run Logias unless the character is just good outside of this one ability? But like if you can't even use your ability gimmick against like a Luffy or Zoro, what's the point of even playing that duelist Logia, for instance? But yeah, That's my take on it. So I think having a separate game mode, kind of like open queue and Overwatch, is like just a way for it to be like, yeah, this isn't what we want for the base game, but we do understand if you really want to do this. So yeah, that is our Rules of the Sea game mode. Next up is Clash of Kings, which this will basically be a game mode similar to the current 3v3 elimination, but with one special exception. The game mode consists of purely Conquerors Hockey users as well as suspected Conquerors Hockey users, either by in-series dialogue, data books, or community speculation, like Usopp having it eventually, because that's a very popular theory. I just thought this would be fun because it'll really show you, like, if you think, oh, this person has hockey, this person has hockey, you can see how many characters genuinely do, because it'll be like split into Conquerors Hockey and then suspected Conquerors Hockey. So you'll have your suspecteds like Usopp's, like Sanji's, those people who might get it eventually, and then also you'll include people who might even have it. We just don't have like full confirmation. Like Kobe, eh, maybe. Why not? Throw them on there. But then, you got your Garps, you got your Zoros, you got your Luffy's, you got your Sengokus, your Kaidos, your Big Moms, your Boa Hancocks, and your Confirms. So this is just a fun game. This really doesn't change anything about the game other than just limiting your hero pool. So if you want to do that to only Conquerors Hockey users, I guess you can. But yeah, that's our Clash of Kings game mode. I hope you're not getting bored, because we still have 4 more game modes to cover, with the first of those 4 last ones being Conquest. Basically, this game mode is a standard mode where players will have 3 main objectives and 2 side objectives. Think of it like a miniaturized version of Clash from Overwatch, or Clash from Overwatch, but those 2 middle points between the center and your like base points are just moved to be set to the other side of the middle point, so it like makes a square around the middle point, right? The main objectives are to gain points to win the game. The side points will give buffs for the team who captures it or make new map shakeups. So like in Rivals, when you're on the Hydra map, when you reach 50% either on one team or collectively between both teams, the map will shift somewhat, right? So it would work something like that, where things would shift and move, or it could be like water floods a point, Things like this I think would be good to like try to spice up the gameplay in real time and not arbitrarily. You would have to actually go and do it. Now, let's say you are down 2 points and will soon lose. Well, you can capture a side objective, which takes less time than the normal objectives, and then flood the current main point, so all Devil Fruit users if Devil Fruit users don't move off the point, they can't use their Devil Fruit abilities, or they'll be slowed, something like that, generally. I don't know if we completely negate Devil Fruit abilities, but honestly, most Devil Fruit users don't even use their fruit abilities for all of their things, so honestly, we could do negating all Devil Fruit abilities for a few seconds, and they'll be slowed. This will go for both teams, however, so it's really just a reset, get everybody off the point, and then your couple non-Devil Fruit users could just stay on point if they wanted. Another subjective effect could be shifting the map, which I've said before, by the main point in play, moving and shifting, so players will need to respond as well to this. This is to avoid boring games, and map changes / hazards / team buffs will be different from each other and random, so every game will be different than the last. Yeah, so basically it'll like have like a big list of possible effects and hazards and map shifts, so it'll be like multiple ways to shift the map, multiple ways to affect the point, multiple ways to buff your team. It'll be so randomized, and like it's gonna be not one of those things where you'll get multiple things in a row, where you'll flood the point and you'll get a damage boost when you capture 2 side objectives. It doesn't matter. And I didn't mention it here, but I think the side objectives are always open, but they will have like a cooldown of like a minute. So like if you capture both side objectives and then the middle, you'll have to wait basically until either the end of the second team fight or the third team fight. That's the idea here, is to like make it to where there's a lot happening, but it's all condensed, so it all feels very intense and it's all very different from your last game. But yeah, That is our Conquest game mode. Next up is a bit of a sillier game mode. It's called Bounty Hunter. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is going to be just like the Overwatch Bounty Hunter, because that's what most of these are, aside from like the 4 or 5 that weren't. But no, actually, it's not going to be like the Bounty Hunter thing in Overwatch. It's just called Bounty Hunter. It's actually going to be based off the custom game mode, 1 dad versus 11 kids, and here's how it'll work exactly. Basically, the game mode is simple. There will be one bounty hunter who will hunt down the other 11 players in a 3v3 elimination slash deathmatch maps, which I will mention a few maps at the end of this video, just a couple of them for an example. The bounty hunter will have double the stats, and the huntees will have half the stats. So bounty hunters can play. I chose both. I chose this pool of characters arbitrarily based on if they were a bounty hunter, and then from there I just did it to make gameplay different. So your possible bounty hunters will be Zoro, Zoro, Mihawk, Frankie, Kobe, Garp, Law, Smoker, Rouge, Bluno, Stussy, and Perona. The first few of them you can take like, oh, okay, Mihawk and Zoro are, they were hunters of bounties. Well, Zoro was a bounty hunter, pirate hunter, while Mihawk was a marine hunter. Frankie's in there for a tank. Kobe, Garp, they are marines. So is Smoker, and then Bluno and Stussy are also government agents, so it makes sense. The other couple ones are just for like new stuff. Also, you might mention a couple names in there I haven't given you a thing for yet. This game will have the bounty hunter options. This gives the bounty hunter options while the huntees have all available options. The hunter must eliminate all players to win the round, and if they fail, the huntees win either by killing the hunter or by the time running out. This would just be a single round, just fun, just dumb fun stuff, really. Just quick and fun. Just jump in, play Zoro with buff stats and stuff. You wouldn't grow in size or anything, like 11 dads. And 11 dads versus 1 kid. Jesus, no. In 1 dad versus 11 kids. But, I think this would be fun to do every once in a while, just to wind down or get warmed up, So yeah, that's my bounty hunter game mode. Now on to Fortress Siege. Basically, this game mode will be a pirates versus marines. The players can queue into this as attackers, pirates, or defenders, marines, if they wish, but it will be set to both automatically, so it'll be like a normal queue, but if you want, you can specifically be attacking or defending. Pirates arrive on a ship and they need to destroy certain items within the marine fortress and return to the ship before time runs out. The marines will need to defeat all the pirates and hold them off until the end of the match. Both teams will respawn. Now, again, these pools were chosen mostly arbitrarily aside from the marines, because obviously I only have so many marines. So, pirates can play Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, gotta get them out of the way, people love them, Kaido, Blackbeard, Law, Boa Hancock, Doc Q, Queen, Sabo, Nami, Pika, Chopper. Now, I just chose these because I was like, I don't know, I just looked at the list and I was like, okay, you. Mainly because most of my characters are not even done yet, because I only had 12 per role given to you guys, so yeah, we'll get into them later on in different videos. But anyway, then Marines can play your Sengoku, your Garp, your Fujitora, Kobe, Akainu, X-Drake, he's part of Sword, Rob Lucci, Kako, Bluno, Prince Goose, which is also part of Sword, Green Bull, Stussy, and Khalifa. Which, again, if you didn't notice when I said them, a lot of those characters in that Marine list, you don't have a thing for yet. So yeah, that'll be coming in a future video. But yeah, that is my Fortress Siege game mode, and I will say the items that pirates will destroy will always be there, but only like 2 or 3 of them will be highlighted to destroy specifically. And this would be like a 5-minute game mode or less, it's just quick, easy, just it's done type thing. But yeah, that is my Fortress Siege game mode. Now it's time for our final game mode. I'm calling it Devil's Gambit. Now this is definitely different. I know I've said everything's a little different. This is just big different. This is big different. Now, think Fortnite. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're a hero shooter player, you think Fortnite, you're like, oh no, I don't know if I really want to play that. But remember, you're going to be in the One Piece verse, so just hear me out for these next probably 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Please? Now, basically, Devil's Gambit, this game mode will be a Battle Royale style mode. Players will load in and have 90 seconds to pick their character and their sort of loadout. And I'll get into that. First, Players can choose to queue as a pirate. Sorry, after queuing and entering the game, players can choose between a pirate or marine. This will bring a different outfits and passives. Pirates will have increased odds of devil fruits spawning around them. Example being if the normal rate is 10% around you, because there will be a few devil fruit spots around the map that will always have devil fruits. It's just random, right? Then that 10% from it randomly spawning around you will go up to 15%. This is to nod to the fact that most pirates in the show, like most devil fruits, belong to pirates in the show, in the series. That's the idea here. And then for Marines, it's very similar to that. They will have increased odds of Logia Devil Fruits spawning around them. Example being if it's 10% for the fruit to spawn, and it's a 33.3% chance for it to be a Logia, then it'll be like a 45% chance up from 10%. Sorry, up from the 33.3% out of that 10%. So it's like basically, let's say a fruit does spawn around you, there's like an almost 50% chance it's a Logia, and that's to the nod of the fact that every single Logia, aside from Sabo / Ace's Flame Fruit and Aokiji's now Ice Fruit, because I'm pretty sure the Snow Fruit's in circulation. So yeah, Ice Fruit and Flame Fruit are the only two Logias that the world government does not own, with Monet's Snow Fruit being sort of just out there somewhere. So yeah, that's the first option you have to pick from. Then, once you pick between your pirate or marine, you will then choose a class of sorts, and they'll be the same for both. So, the classes are the brawler, the knight, and the sniper. Basically, I didn't mention this in my previous videos, but our buccaneers, like our general flat base HP is going to be like 250. 275, 300, that's the DPS looking like, right? Just want to make that clear right now. So basically, the brawler will have 250 HP. Their primary fire will be brass knuckles. They punch you to do damage. Pretty simple. These guys have very simple abilities to start with. Ability 1 will be kick. They kick an enemy away. Second ability will be bomb. They throw a bomb to do AoE damage and block vision with like a smoke. And then the passive for the brawler is dash, which they run at an increased pace. And I'll talk more why these are so simple right after this. But let's get into the knight. The knight has a health of 300. His primary fire will be a sword. They slash you, do damage. His secondary fire will be shield. They put up their shield to block damage. Ability 1 will be shield throw. They'll throw their shield at you to momentarily stun so they can close the gap. And their passive will be defender, which is of 300 HP rather than 250 from a typical buccaneer. And then finally, the sniper will have 250 HP. Their primary will be sniper. They'll use their rifle to attack enemies at distance. Secondary fire will be sniper scope. Zoom in for more accurate hits and more damage. Their ability 1 will be smoke pellet. And then their passive will be wall climb. You'll be able to climb a nearby wall to get a better position. Now, the reason they are so simple, so boring, is because you could get devil fruits. And for this next option, which involves hockey and sea prism stone, which I will get into right now. So, once picking your faction and your class, you'll have two abilities you can add to or replace your base kit with. Now, these are only general examples that encompass the various hockeys and then sea prism, so remember, this wouldn't be final, but these are just conceptually the idea. So hockey, you can add any of these two hockey abilities from the armament, observation, and conquerors. So you can have an armament and a conquerors and observation. Armament, observation, you get it, right? So armament hockey options: your primary fire now hits Logias and deals more damage. So that's your first one. Your primary fire can hit Logias and do more damage. The next one would be you can add a block ability to enhance your block. To enhance your own block. So example being, or enhance your own block. Example would be like a brawler can gain a block ability, and then the knight will gain damage resistance during their block, even if the damage is not hitting their shield. And then another option could be like, you gain a ranged or close range powerful hockey attack. Example being a knight gets a hockey slash ability for range, and a sniper gains a hockey strike for knockback. The observation options would be like gain an observation dodge ability similar to Kobe, which requires good timing. You could gain a future sight ability which requires even better timing and allows counterattack, or you can gain an ability to see through walls, smoke, etc. for a couple seconds. And the Conqueror's hockey abilities are very simple. I don't know how I feel about these, but you gain a knockback ability to create space, or you can gain a brief close range stun, or you can gain a ranged stun, but it cannot be used within a certain radius around you. So if they're within like 5 meters of you, you can't use your long range hockey stun, which is like how to balance this so you don't just stack stuns, you know? That's the idea for the hockey abilities. And then your possible Sea Prism Stone abilities could be like you put quote unquote cuffs on an opponent to prevent Devil Fruit abilities for a couple seconds. Your primary can cancel Devil Fruit abilities with similar timing to Future Sight. So it's very precise, but you can cancel Devil Fruit abilities. And then you can gain a ranged Sea Prism ability to cancel Devil Fruits from range, which could just be throwing cuffs. It could be like just throwing a rock at them, a rock of Sea Prism, you know. That's the idea here. And then there's even more. I'm sorry, there's a lot here to Devil's Gambit. So, after making all of these choices, the players will then be put in random spots around the edge of the map, and the match will begin. Whoever is the last one standing wins. You can customize your build at every aspect with the addition of randomized Devil Fruits, most being ones that wouldn't make it to the game because of their user. So yeah, so like, you know, the paint fruit, that would never come to the game normally, just because the user for it, I don't see her being popular, or like conceptual. Even non-canon Devil Fruits, we might, if we get the go-ahead from Moto, we could just put it in here and be like, yeah, that's a thing, it does exist in the world, it's just you don't know who the user is, you know? That's the idea here. The Devil Fruit mechanics. So basically, when a Devil Fruit spawns, the player can grab it and must take 2 seconds to eat it. Once consuming the Devil Fruit, a menu will pop up with the options Fill Uncustomized, Replace All, or Custom. Now, I'll get into these right now. Fill Uncustomized, basically this simply means like all of your standard abilities / empty ability slots, like with the Sniper, how you had an empty ability slot in ability 2, or like if you didn't change your kick ability on the Brawler, that will change when you get a Devil Fruit. Basically, all these like empty or non-customized spots will then be filled with your Devil Fruit. So if you pick Hockey / Sea Prism Stone abilities, it'll replace everything but those abilities with what the Devil Fruit would have in place of that ability. Replace All, even simpler, it'll replace any and all of your current abilities with that of the Devil Fruit. And then finally, for Custom, you can pick and choose what abilities you gain or lose from the Devil Fruit. So if you get, let's say you really want to keep your wall climb passive. No, you wouldn't lose passives. Let's say you want to keep your shield on the Knight, but you're fine with losing your primary fire. Then you can just choose Custom and pick your primary fire to replace and your other abilities that you want to replace, and then you can keep your shield. That's the idea with Custom. But I put these as options instead of just having it custom, is because if you're in the middle of a fight and you're able to eat a Devil Fruit and you just want to quick just replace all, I don't care, I just need to fight this guy, you know, that's an option if you really need to do that quick change, right? Then there will be some Devil Fruits in the base game from here, like, so basically like Sabo / Ace's Flame Fruit, Luffy's Gum Gum Fruit or Nika Fruit, and so on. Those could be in this game mode. So basically, possible Devil Fruits, not complete list, just example of a few. Paint Fruit, Rest Fruit, Spring Fruit, Flame Fruit, Kilo Fruit, and Revive Fruit. So like, it would have a lot more Devil Fruits that aren't in the game, like the base roster, but it will have some that could be. Like, for instance, a Spring Fruit. Who knows, maybe Bellamy does come to the base game. I don't know, I'm just the lead and only game designer. But yeah, that's basically all of our game modes. And now, right now, before we end this video, it's over 30 minutes, but we might as well just keep going until I've gotten all my thoughts out for this. I want to give you a couple map examples. I only have a few maps up to Alabasta, so I don't even have Alabasta done, but this is just an example of a few maps. So let's start with Dawn Island. Dawn Island will have Fuchsia Village, which will be an escort map, and you will be transporting booze through the village and will stop at the dock where the end screen will show Shanks' ship pulling up to the shore, which may or may not be an Easter egg. Then you have, let's say, Drum Island. This will be a control map with 3 possible areas, being Drum Island, Walpole's Castle, Drum Island, Bighorn Village, and Drum Island, Herelick's Residence. Now, I would tell you what those end screens look like, but that's not fun. And then you have a couple maps that are also like Arlong Park. At the Oikot Kingdom, with its Kokoashi Village in Arlong Park. Arlong Park would be a 3v3 elimination map, a deathmatch map, team deathmatch map, and a boss battle map arena where you would fight Arlong. And yeah, those are a couple examples of maps. I will get into more of it on my official map video or videos. But yeah, so with all of that information kind of shoved down your throats, I think that's where I'm going to end this. Next episode, I might release more heroes, like maybe a few people who need to fill out the archetypes slash factions in here, like the emperors, the warlords, the beast pirates, straw hats, whoever I'm missing for certain crews or organizations, CP9, stuff like that. I might fill it out in the next video. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, with that, I'll see you all in the next one. Like, comment, subscribe, and bye bye.